Look, it's quite simple. Press the free like button if you think Tony Khan is a bad businessman and he is a bad, awful boss. For suspending Jack Perry and CM Junk. I feel like as a boss, that's dumb, especially in wrestling. Okay, these two guys got into a small backstage conversation. How does that equate into a suspension? That's stupid, that's childish. That is signs of a very inexperienced boss. That's my point, man. Man, press the free like button if you think that Vince McMahon would have forced CM Junk and Jack Perry to work a match to take advantage of their current real life heat. Come on, man, these are facts. Vince McMahon will force these two dudes to work with each other to make some money. Now, this is what I heard, which is crazy. I heard that All Elite Wrestling didn't give CM Junk a ride to Wembley Stadium. I heard they didn't give him a ride at all once he got dropped off at the airport. If that's true, that's crazy. That is just the definition of unprofessional. And we need to stop saying All Elite Wrestling did it. Dude, just say Tony Khan man did it. It's like, how can Tony Khan be so busy where he forgets to give CM Junk a ride to the damn building? That's insane. I swear, man, Tony Khan is awful when it comes to dealing with talent and backstage relations. Because why would you suspend Jack Perry and CM Junk? It's like, especially CM Junk. Because I feel like this is also making CM Junk look bad. Because Vince would never do this. It's like, yeah, tons of guys get into backstage fights. There's no need to suspend them. That's like, I remember Eddie G tried to get into a fight with Kurt Angle. And last time I checked, Eddie G did not get suspended. I think Shawn Michaels got into a fight with Bret Hart and they did not get suspended. I remember Chris Jericho got into a fight with Goldberg. They did not get suspended. There was no fucking investigation. Like, what the hell are we doing? It's like, what happened ain't no damn crime, so what are we talking about? But Tony Khan is an awful booker. It's terrible booker. Because as a boss, it's like you can't keep repeating these things. It's like, look, either fire one of these guys or you gotta make these guys work with each other. Because the more CM Junk gets into backstage fights and CM Junk doesn't want to work with this guy, right? It's like, that makes your company look bad. It's like, man, you have to force CM Junk to work with these guys that he's getting into fights with. If not, it's like your locker room looks hectic. So every time CM Junk gets to a fight, you gotta separate them, and now CM Junk can't work with this guy because CM Junk don't like him. No, man, Vince don't do that. If Vince sees like, okay, both these guys got heat, maybe we can make some money. Okay, why not put them in a match? Because I felt like this was too good to be true. Like, all of a sudden Jack is a heel, now he's trying to get into the face of CM Junk. I thought it was some kind of work, because I thought, like, bruh, this is too good to be true. Because he was not showing this kind of backstage behavior when he was Jungle Boy as a face, so why now? So this makes CM Junk look bad, actually more than Jungle Boy. Because this is what, his second or third backstage fight or something, kind of confrontation, right? And it's like, okay, another guy on your list that we might not see you work with now. It's like, bro, that's fucking immature. It's like, be a professional. Make some fucking money. It's like, that's money if we see Omega and CM Junk wrestling. That's money if we see FTR and the Elite wrestle with CM Junk. That's money if we see Adam Page wrestle CM Junk again. It's like, if I'm 20, I'm like, bro, I'm saying fuck CM Junk. You gonna wrestle Adam Page. And you gonna fucking suck it up or I gotta fire you. Khan should have two choices. Either force Junk to wrestle all of his guys he don't like or just fire him. Because, bruh, that's life. Not everybody's going to like you. But you gotta be a professional. It's like, I don't get it. This guy loves Bret Hart so much, right? Okay, Bret Hart hated Shawn Michaels, but he still worked with him. There's been a lot of guys that Bret Hart does not like, but he always had a match with him, even though he didn't like him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. Now it's like, man, this would be a high-profile match now, Jack Perry versus CM Junk. Because the best angles are the best angles that are based on reality. Right? It's like, okay, these guys got backstage real heat. Okay, we can make some money. Make this into a fucking match. I feel like CM Junk at the same time he's killing the business for All Elite Wrestling. It's like, man, this was a WWE. These guys will have a match. I swear to God, these guys will have a match. Vince will force them to have a match. Let's make some money. Okay, you guys don't like each other. Okay, now the audience would know, okay, if you guys were in the same ring, there's real animosity now that the crowd can sense. Okay, people won't know if it's a work or a shoot. That's a good thing. So why would you suspend him? Like, who does that? Fights happen all the time. Like, Rick Rude beat up the Ultimate Warrior. Rick Rude was not suspended. It's like, it's so stupid, so childish, so stupid. It's like, this is not how a company is ran. This is wrestling. People are gonna fight. People are not gonna have agreements all the time. Take advantage. It's like a whole year now. It's like, I would say, fuck the Bucks. You are wrestling FTR and CM Junk. Let's make some money. But what do I think about Jack Perry getting to the face of CM Junk? Look, all I'm saying is, why did he do this to Roosh when Roosh whooped his ass? That's why I said this gotta be a work. Because you didn't have this same energy for Roosh. Now, let's get to the point of this whole video. People need to stop disrespecting CM Junk as a fighter in real life. Not as a wrestler, but as a fighter, right? I never disrespect CM Junk as a real life fighter because I know where he came from. Mixed martial arts. Look, at the end of the day, I understand he got his ass whooped in the UFC, but that don't mean he can't fight in real life. At the end of the day, Dana White is not going to put you in the octagon if he don't think you can do it. Dana White felt like, okay, CM Junk has had a good training camp in sparring. He has had a good training camp. He has had good practice sessions. I like what I see. I'm gonna put you in the octagon now. He's not going to put you in the octagon if he feels like you can't fight. So, people just need to stop disrespecting CM Junk as a fighter. That's what this whole thing boils down to. It's like Jack Perry says to himself, okay, CM Junk got his ass whooped in the UFC. maybe I can take him. I'm like, bro, that's not how this works. That's not how mixed martial arts works. At the end of the day, he's a trained mixed martial artist. I don't care about his UFC record. Okay, by that same logic, if you get your ass whooped by Jon Jones in the UFC, does that mean you can't fight? Right? If you get your ass whooped by, I don't know, Daniel Cormier, does that mean you can't fight? If you get whooped by Sean O'Malley, does that mean you can't fight? No. It's just, he is a better fighter. In the UFC, he's a better fighter in the octagon. Look, being a UFC fighter doesn't really equate to how your fighting skills are in real life. That's what this is about. At the end of the day, CM Punk knows how to fight. It's just, he fought better opponents in the UFC. That don't mean he can't fight. That don't mean you as a civilian should test him in real life. Are you stupid? Look, he is trained. He knows how to choke you out. Last time I checked, CM Punk, he still trains in mixed martial arts. Because as a martial artist, you don't stop doing it. You keep on doing it. It don't matter if you ain't competing. Every martial artist knows mixed martial arts. It don't matter. You still train. For the rest of your life, you still train. Because martial arts is a lifestyle. It don't matter if you don't compete no more. It's a lifestyle. CM Punk still trains in the octagon. So, I hate when people say he can't fight. That's stupid. At the end of the day, he's trained, bruh. It's just he fought better fighters. But in a real life fight, CM Punk can beat up the average man because he's trained to beat people up. Okay, yeah, he probably can't beat up, you know what I'm saying? He probably can't beat up a superior fighter who's on his level. But to a guy like a Jack Perry or the Bucks, of course, he can fuck them up. That's what I mean. He's a trained mixed martial artist. He can beat up the average man walking down the street. I don't care about his UFC record. Look, at the end of the day, CM Punk knows how to take a punch. If you've seen his fights, this dude is tough. He knows how to take a beating. So he don't fear nobody. He knows how to take an ass whooping. A guy like that knows how to fight in real life now. Okay, he is trained. So we gotta put some respect on CM Punk's name. Is like Jack Perry does not respect him because he's brainwashed by his UFC record. But bro, Punk was fighting real experienced fighters. So obviously, he always had a chance to lose, but that don't mean he can't fight you. That don't mean he can't fight you. That's like saying if you get your ass whooped by Conor McGregor in the octagon, that means you can't fight in real life on the damn streets. That's not how fighting works. You win some, you lose some. This is what people said to themselves watching those fights from CM Punk. They said, those two guys beat up CM Punk. Maybe I can too. I'm like, no, bro. there's levels to this. Because the worst fighter in the UFC can beat you up. Let's not get that twisted. Obviously, Jack Perry had that twisted. The worst fighter in the UFC can beat up the average man on the street. Like I said, if you see Jon Jones beating up somebody in the octagon, does that mean you can beat up the guy that he beat up? No. See, that's why these fucking wrestling fans just live in a bubble. They don't know shit about mixed martial arts or training. It's about training at the end of the day. CM Punk is trained in mixed martial arts. It's just he wasn't built for the UFC. But that doesn't mean CM Punk would have failed in other companies. Hell, you never know. CM Punk probably lost out on some money in terms of, okay, he wasn't good in the UFC, but what if he would have been better in Bellator or Sure Dog? We don't know. Shit, we don't know if Lashley would have been good in the UFC. We don't know that. We don't know if Jack Swagger would have been good in the UFC. We don't know that. So there's other scenarios. Just because Junk got his ass whooped in the UFC, that don't mean he would have failed in other companies like Bellator. We don't know that. I think CM Junk should have never been in the UFC. He wasn't ready. Clearly, that guy should have been in Bellator. I think he would have done way better. Way better. Because they send you cupcakes in fucking Bellator. Ask Bobby Lashley. He's the fat guy strangler. Okay? I don't think Bobby Lashley would have done well in the UFC. I think it's a good thing he didn't go. Because I think he would have been exposed. Just like CM Junk. But that don't mean Lashley can't fight. It's like, bro, there's levels. Now, CM Junk as a fighter in the UFC, it's like, yeah, he's not that athletic. It's just, look, just because you are not that athletic for the UFC, bro, that don't mean you can't fight in real life. Look, everybody who shits on CM Junk on YouTube, all these YouTubers and shit, right? Look, he can whoop your ass in real life if you test him. All these haters of CM Junk is like, look, don't get it twisted. He can whoop your ass. Not as a wrestler, but as a real life fighter now. He's trained. So, I don't get it. It's like, people mix up fake wrestling with his UFC stint. Yeah, it didn't go well. It's like, okay, because he wasn't ready for those kind of athletes. He wasn't ready for the high level of competition in the UFC. That don't mean shit. It's like, bro, there's a lot of guys that are not built or not ready for the UFC. That's why Dana White has something called the Ultimate Fighter, right? Because there's some guys who actually wash out. There's some guys who get released from the UFC. The UFC is not forever. There's contracts. If Dana White sees that you ain't that good, he will cut you. He will release you. So it's not forever. There's a lot of guys that are actually better than CM Junk who are not that good for the octagon. Who, yeah, they have 4 or 5 fights, but if Dana White don't like what he sees, he will release them from their contracts and they have to start all over. And they have to go on the Ultimate Fighter series to get back in the UFC. That's what I mean by it, bro. We gotta put some more respect on CM Junk's name. There's a lot of guys who are not built for the UFC who are way better than CM Junk. And I do believe the reports that Jack Perry got his ass choked out by CM Junk. I heard it was a front hold choke, which means CM Junk learned that from training in mixed martial arts. Don't test this guy. That's what I mean. Don't test him. Jack found out and got his ass whooped. If he put you in a fucking chokehold, it was a front face chokehold. Okay, yeah, that means he learned that in training. Right? Don't test him. The Bucks tried to test him. The Bucks got their ass whooped by CM Punk. Because, like I said, he can beat up the average man who is not about that life. The Bucks, Paige, Jack Perry, they are not about that life. CM Punk is about that mixed martial arts life. Yeah, he can't beat the average fighter in the UFC, but who can? It's like there's a very small percentage of the public who can fight in the UFC. Let's not gloss over that. The UFC ain't built for everybody. But that don't mean you can't fight in real life. People are fucking stupid. So, at the end of the day, CM Punk and Jack Perry should not be suspended. This is so stupid. Listen, either fire them or make these guys work a match. If not, this makes your brand look bad, like it's a fucking child's playground. It's like, yeah, Jack Perry's dumb for using real glass, but you gotta make Jack and CM Punk work a match. If not, this makes All In look bad. This makes your brand look bad. And I can't believe CM Punk might not make it to All Out. It's like, wow, it's in Chicago. Are you trying to lose money? Are you trying to make the audience turn against your company? This is Chicago. Obviously, they want to see him. They bought tickets to see their hometown hero. And he's suspended over something Jack started? Come on, man, that's so dumb. Like I said, either fire him or force them. You gotta force them as a boss. Be a boss. It's like fucking Eric Bischoff would have forced Jack and CM Punk to work a match. There was tons of fights backstage during WCW, but they still worked matches. There was tons of guys that Chris Jericho didn't like, but he still worked with them. I don't get, like, Tony Khan, he is so inexperienced. Take advantage. Every boxing promoter, every promoter would take advantage. It's like, hold on, these two guys got real life heat. Okay, let's book them in a match. Let's make fucking money. So this is bad on both sides. It's bad on Jack's side. It's bad on CM Punk's side. It's bad on Tony Khan's side for being tone deaf. It's like, don't suspend them. Sit these two guys down. You a boss, bro. That's it. I'm done.